UFC Baku. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I'm very excited to talk about each of the matchups on this card. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I will be live for the entire card Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Early start. Don't miss the fight companion. I'm damn excited for it. And let's get into the first fight on the card. We got Mohammed Usman versus Hamdi Abdelwahab. I'm going to go with Hamdi Abdelwahab to pull off a win somehow here against Mohammed Usman. We just had Usman's brother, Kamaru, the legend, do fantastic last night. And does that keep it going as far as momentum with the family, turning around losing streaks? With Mohammed, I just can't say for sure. I think Hamdi is a little quicker. I get it. He's not all that. I'm not singing the praises. Yo, Hamdi to the title shot 2026. Absolutely not. But he is pretty quick. He's an Olympic level wrestler. Closes the gap all right with power punches. He's got KO power, but he hasn't shown it at a high level just yet. His last fight was a damn nail-biting close one, which he arguably could have lost, against Jamal Pogues. Say what you want about chubby Jamal Pogues, but he does manage distance better than Mohammed Usman. When you look at that reach advantage, it's 79 inches to 73. You have to take into account Usman is not a maestro at managing that range. Yes, he does throw a decent heavy jab, and he throws a decent straight with power. Ultimately, though, Usman's style is power-based, and he's going to react to the ranges. Like, I definitely could see Abdelwahab crashing in on Usman, timing a takedown, backing him up. Both guys will probably land shots on the feet. I could see Mohammed Usman cracking Abdelwahab. I think Abdelwahab's chin could hold up. I definitely think if there's a takedown landed, it's Abdelwahab on top. The wrestling hasn't looked what the pedigree carries, right? When you hear of an Olympic level wrestler in MMA, you are anticipating something better than we've seen with Hamdi Dumpty. But you also have to look at the suboptimal circumstance. Last fight, long layoff, and he acted like he was just chilling on the sidelines. He popped for anabolics, which is not a great look. Came back, did beat Jamal Pogues nonetheless. That was now 4 months ago. So we got an active Hamdi Abdelwahab. Does he look better? Is he more accurate? Does he start faster? Is he in better condition? It's like a bit of faith here. I know that Mohammed Usman is not cracking into the top 20, right? We've seen it. He just got boxed up by Peterson last fight, and he lost to Mick Park and getting outstruck for 3 rounds in the fight prior. Is Hamdi Abdelwahab good enough to win a gritty fight against Mohammed Usman? I'm going to lean towards yes. I'm going to lean towards the takedown being more effective in this fight. I'm going to lean towards Abdelwahab and now his 3rd UFC start looking better. I think this could be the best version of him yet. Mo Usman's really physically strong. He's jacked and he's powerful, but he's really not technical. He's not sharp with his strikes, his brute force behind everything. I could see Hamdi landing big punches. I could see Hamdi mixing in the strikes with the takedown. I can see Hamdi squeaking by with a close win. It's an ugly fight, and it's a fight that, you know, confidence-wise on the betting scene is not going to be crazy here, but I think Hamdi by decision. I think this fight's live to go over 2.5 rounds. We'll talk odds now. Hamdi Abdelwahab, the odds for him are -161. So he's come down a bit as a favorite. He actually opened up as a dog, but it spread into the -200 range. Usman sitting around +140. Dog money tag on Usman. Am I salivating at the bit for that? Absolutely not. Both guys are bottom caliber UFC heavyweights, but one has the undefeated record and the, you know, Olympic wrestler status on his side. Over 2.5 rounds, -190. I feel like the big boys might make it to the later stages. I could see them both being slow, sloppy come round 3, and we get a bit of like an OG cuddle fest later, just sloppy boxing from the outside, something that you'd see between 2 drunk guys at the bar. I'm going to go with Hamdi. I'm going to say that he times a couple takedowns. I think he's a little faster. I think he lands a little bit sharper, but like you're not going to watch the fight be like, wow, Hamdi's levels above Usman. No, I think Usman thuds him with some decent punches to the head. I think Usman's got a chance to land power shots. I think Hamdi eats a good punch, though. I don't think Usman knocks him out either. And if you look at Usman's resume, I mean, the wins are Jake Collier, Junior Tafa, and Zach Pauga. None of those three guys scream, yo, keep an eye on it. I feel like Hamdi Abdelwahab still has that undefeated factor. I get it, it's only 4-0, but it's 2 bare knuckle fights and a no contest. He's 7-0, and if you include everything, to be fair. I think the Olympic wrestler is in better physical condition, even though he doesn't look like it physically, you know what I'm saying? I think later the cardio might look a little better, especially than last time. He was gasping for air. I think his shape will be a little bit sharper, a little better, not a ton. I think he'll be a bit quicker. I think he'll land some key takedowns. I think he's going to beat Mohammed Usman in a very back and forth fight. I expect both guys to land shots on the feet. I think if there's a takedown, it's Hamdi's, and I'll say he does enough to win. And I think he gets it like 29-28 on the judges' scorecards. I can see a competitive fight throughout, though, and back and forth rounds. Definitely a bit of a nail biter. But I'll say Hamdi does just a bit more to squeak by and stays undefeated here. But as far as my hype on him as an undefeated heavyweight prospect, no, I think he's going to get, beaten up as he jumps the ranks higher. Because his wrestling, though it's Olympic caliber, hasn't looked good. To be fair, though, this is his chance. If he goes out there and wrestle fucks Mo Usman, that'll actually put a lot of respect on Hamdi's name. I would say a wrestle fucking of Mo Usman, even though entertainment value-wise, it wouldn't be best case scenario, to show he's a problem for the upper echelon, that would be a statement. If he goes out there and knocks out Usman too, good luck. Ultimately, I don't think he's going to look that good, but I feel like he's going to find a way to win. So we'll go Abdelwahab. Next fight on the card, Tagir Ulanbekov versus Azat Maksum. So Tagir goes from fighting in one of the main fights on this card against Ryzen champion and, Japanese MMA legend Kyoji Horiguchi in his UFC return to fighting prospect Azat Maksum. I respect Maksum stepping in. I'm picking Tagir Ulanbekov. I mean, listen, if you watch the UFC, you know of Ulanbekov. He's a Team Habib prospect or protege, I'll say, or even contender. He is 33, nearly 34. He's not a prospect anymore. He's 34 years old. He does have strong wrestling, as, normally, Team Habib has. Pressure-based style with good takedowns and control. His striking's a bit slow. He's definitely one of the slower strikers in the UFC flyweight top 15, but he tends to close the gap well with his physicality and wrestling. One of those guys that cuts a good amount of weight. He's a large flyweight for sure. Decent straight punch shooter, to be fair, but like nothing on the feet he does is all that impressive, but he does manage distance okay when he needs to and closes the gap and clashes when he needs to as well. Takedown threat is there, control is there, and he does have a bit of a tricky submission game. Ulanbekov is not a complete scrub on the mat. Now, on the opposite side, Azat Maksum, when you just look on paper, you're like, yo, he just lost to Johnson. Charles Johnson is good, but there's no level match there for Ulanbekov. But to be fair, go back, rewatch the fight. Early in the fight, Maksum dropped Charles Johnson, nearly had him in an Darce choke, I believe. It was a Darce or an Anaconda. I think it was a Darce choke, 90% sure, a Darce choke. He was shooting hard for that submission, and it looked close, but Johnson able to grit it out and then come back and win the fight on a competitive decision. I definitely think Maksum is a good kickboxer. He's sharp on the feet, but ultimately what lost him that fight is Charles Johnson out-wrestled him in key moments of that fight. Charles Johnson's a good kickboxer, but if Charles Johnson is out wrestling you in those key moments, I have to favor Ulanbekov to out-muscle and out-wrestle him for sure and potentially win the fight by submission. I think submission would be live for Ulanbekov, but decision or submission makes more sense to me. I think that Ulanbekov is an impressive striking talent, and he does seem to have tricky submission threats. But the inexperience factor at a high level, obviously he's got nearly the same amount of pro fights as Tagir Ulanbekov, but only 2 UFC fights to his credit. Hasn't fought those, high caliber guys outside of Charles Johnson. And I guess Tyson Nam. Listen, Tyson Nam at one point was good. But I just think Azat Maksum is going to get clearly out-grappled. I think there's a clear discrepancy in ability on the mat, and I think Ulanbekov probably mauls Azat Maksum with the wrestling game. I definitely will say Maksum has a speed advantage in the striking, and crazy shit happens in this game. A perfectly placed straight punch from Azat Maksum, like he hit Charles Johnson with, could do damage, but I expect Ulanbekov to be able to close distance fairly consistently, control Maksum against the cage, get him to the ground when need be, and outwork him on the mat. And I do think he's live to work towards that submission, but a decision doesn't blow my mind either. Either way, I feel pretty confident Tagiru Ulanbekov puts W together and puts himself on a 4-fight win streak as well. Now, as far as the odds for the fight, Tagiru Ulanbekov's a minus 360 favorite. That's honestly wide, but not wide for this fight. Like for most fights, you go minus 360, you open at minus 210, but I could see it being minus 425, minus 450. I could see Ulanbekov continuing to spread as a favorite because the real pathway to victory for Azat Maksum is just one that we haven't seen in the UFC against Tagiru Ulanbekov. That lone loss being the Tim Elliott fight in a gritty back and forth. And Elliott's a high-level wrestler and had some veteran-savvy tactics that he pulled in that fight. He was grabbing the cage and the gloves and shit. I think Azat Maksum's getting bodied, man. Ulanbekov's got to be a bit of like a confident lock type pick. I expect him to absolutely out-grapple Maksum. Though I do think Maksum has a UFC future, it's not a great matchup. The over is minus 235. Over possible, but wouldn't be crazy if Ulanbekov pulled off a sub, especially if Maksum scrambles into some type of front headlock position. I can see Ulanbekov locking up a sub, maybe a ghillie. Even potentially the rear naked like he did Durden, but the front headlock in general is a position where I think Ulanbekov can shine. Even look at this win. I mean, the Nascimento W, it's aged really well. Nascimento, say what you want about the fight, was able to find a way to beat Rafael Filho. I'm going to say Tagiru Ulanbekov wins with grappling. I think decision or submission, both live methods. Submission, we'll see what the prop is if you're interested in the betting side. That plus money line might be more eye-catching as opposed to that decision. But nonetheless, down the center, Tagiru Ulanbekov to take it home and push it to 4 fights in a row and earn himself a massive fight, which he was supposed to have here against Kyoji, who's really good. I think that Ulanbekov keeps the win streak alive, and I think he beats Azat Maksum in this matchup. Good matchup for him as well. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Irina Alekseeva versus Klaudia Syguła. I'm going to go with the Russian Ronda. I'm going to go with Irina Alekseeva. I think she can beat Klaudia Syguła. I wasn't impressed by Syguła, even when you look at the regional tape. She kind of reminds me of Dushko Todorovic in like female form as far as her boxing offense goes. She does have long arms. Her reach is like 69 inches, not 59. Topology's got that fucked up. So if you're looking at stats and you're like, yo, she's going to be at a crazy reach disadvantage, that's an incorrect mark. She's actually going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. She's okay with her hands. I say that she's a bit of a slow twitch striker, to be fair, whereas on the flip side, I see Alekseeva as more of a fast twitch striker. I think she's going to be physically stronger than Syguła. I think she's going to be more explosive, more dynamic, more powerful in the kickboxing. I feel like she's a sharper striker, more of a knockout chance on the side of Alekseeva. And I think Syguła melts with big shots landing on her and getting pressured. I could see Alekseeva getting a TKO win. They both have losses in their last fights to Melissa Mullins. Melissa Mullins absolutely beat the fuck out of Syguła and finished her on the ground. Alekseeva did get out grappled, but you have to respect her surviving until the final bell in the matchup. Fight before that, it was actually pretty impressive. Quick knee bar against Stephanie Egger to make her UFC debut. And listen, she hasn't fought anybody all that great. I mean, you know, to be fair, isn't this Rakhmonov's sister or am I crazy? Nah, it's just the same name. Is that Rakhmonov's sister? No, I don't think Rakhmonov's sister 1-4, but I know Rakhmonova is his sister. That wasn't her. Stephanie Page, Bellator win back in 2021. I mean, she lost to an 8-6 girl. That's 2019. This is years back. You got Stephanie Egger and Melissa Mullins as recent opposition for her. Nice knee bar against Stephanie Egger. Hard-fought loss and out-grappling against Mullins. Syguła on the other side. I mean, bro, she's doing the mixed rules fights against a boxer. She's beating a 6-9 girl in the second round by TK. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Give me Alekseeva. I think she's meaner. I'm about to just judge this fight on meanness, man. She don't look like this anymore. She got the shaved head and shit. The Russian Ronda nickname doesn't fit at all anymore. I don't know. She got to maybe be like the Russian Dragon or some shit. I don't know. Because she doesn't look like Ronda at all with like the fucking, you know, young 20-year-old gym bro spaghetti curls on top haircut that she's rocking with now. But ultimately, Alekseeva is more scary on the feet, more power, more aggressive, faster, physically stronger. I think they could win the grappling battle. Alekseeva, you know, that Russian Sambo savage, you know. Syguła, when I watch her, I don't know. Something's off. She reminds me of Dushko Todorovic. I swear to you, she reminds me of Dushko a bit with the way that she sticks the head up high and it's like throws fat punches. I think Alekseeva can counter that and land some power shots. I'll pick Irina Alekseeva to get a win. I think she's live for a KO, but I wouldn't bet on it. Minus 260 for Alekseeva, plus 220 for Syguła. Alekseeva with the layoff, not a great look. Low-level women's MMA, over 2.5, minus 200. Again, low-level women's MMA. Bottom tier, girls without many UFC fights. We got 3 UFC fights between the two of them. Alekseeva with 2, Syguła with 1. We'll find more out about their level after this fight here, but I have to say, I feel like Alekseeva has more edge to her game. And immediately when I saw this fight, I was like, you know, I think Alekseeva is going to be more vicious on the feet. Then going back and watching Syguła, I say there's counters to be found. She could get out grappled by Alekseeva. She could get outworked for 3 rounds. But I feel like Alekseeva could melt Syguła with a big shot, too. I think finish isn't crazy. Ultimately, I am going to go with the Russian Ronda. I think she can beat Dushko Todorovic's younger sister. And I think the model is going back to modeling, and Alekseeva will stick to the fighting, okay? Next fight on the card. We got another ladies matchup. This is actually a rematch. This fight took place a long time back. Daria Zheleznyakova, Melissa Mullins. I guess not that long ago. 3 years? 2 years and 7 months? Feels longer than that. Aries FC, where Melissa Mullins was able to beat Zheleznyakova, undefeated at the time, with grappling after getting hit with some big shots on the feet. Zheleznyakova is a skillful kickboxer. Zheleznyakova has good straight, solid speed, nasty kicks. Like, her stand-up game is live. But she's not that good on the feet. I'm going to pick Melissa Mullins again. Melissa Mullins is a smothering grappler. She beats the shit out of girls. She breaks them. She's consistent with pressure from top position. She's always looking to either advance position, do damage, or finish the fight by submission. And I just have to favor her to do it again. Zheleznyakova, what did she show me she's learned since that fight? She's got destroyed on the ground by Eileen Perez. Yes, she beat Montserrat Rendon, but like she got busted up by Rendon, who's pretty much just, you know, a one-dimensional wrestler who really doesn't have all that much jiu-jitsu offense, and I don't think has the capabilities on the mat of even a Melissa Mullins. And Zheleznyakova was busted up looking like she went 10 rounds after that fight. Like, yeah, she put a win out and she beat an undefeated girl, but I don't think Montserrat Rendon is all that. Like, she throws sloppy straights, lifting her arm out and then chucking it out there. Purely just built on physicality. Not saying Mullins is just, you know, any bit of a striker. She's really quite an average striker at best. I would say her game is built upon getting fights to the ground. And Zheleznyakova did damage last time, couldn't finish. I could see something similar playing out here. Zheleznyakova is going to need to stay on her feet for a vast majority of the fight and knock Melissa Mullins out, because I doubt she kickboxes her up for 3 rounds. If they hit the mat, I think Zheleznyakova is fucked, either ground and pound or submission. I'm going to say Melissa Mullins beats her on the ground again. I think ground and pound is a real possibility. I think submission is a real possibility. I think the fight could look similar to the last one. Zheleznyakova, first 2 minutes, throwing fast shots. Melissa Mullins dealing with some big punches and then getting this fight to the ground. Mullins is a relentless grappler, and I have to favor the relentless grappling style against Zheleznyakova. And I feel like Mullins finds a way to win this fight using the jiu-jitsu game. Her jiu-jitsu is legit. Her top control is legit. Her ability to advance positions, legit. And her submission threat, legit as well. I'm going to say Melissa Mullins gets her second win over Zheleznyakova. She's a minus 275 favorite. Not a surprise, seeing that she won the first fight handily on the ground, and it doesn't seem like Zheleznyakova has improved that much there. Plus 235 for Zheleznyakova. Where is the over? Over 2.5, minus 120. I mean, seeing how their first fight went, I just guess it goes under 1.5. Or excuse me, under 2.5. Maybe even under 1.5. It could be a 1-round fight. I just feel like Mullins is going to get to Zheleznyakaova's body and drag her down. And she's going to beat her up from top position again. I am not blown away by Zheleznyakova. And her striking game is clean, for sure. And it's better than Melissa Mullins, but Mullins' grappling is definitely better. And I favor Mullins to force a takedown at some point, probably in the first round, and get on top of Zheleznyakova. And then what can Zheleznyakova do from there? How does her defense look? I think Melissa Mullins swarms her and beats her for a second time. So I'm going to go Mullins. I think she finds a way to win. But Zheleznyakova, clear striking edge. Mullins, clear grappling edge. Striker versus grappler. I'll lean towards the grappler between the ladies. Let's move on from these ladies' fights. All right. It's time to get to this next matchup, which, is actually quite interesting at middleweight. It's Ismail Naurdiev versus Jun-Young Park. I mean, if you just look at the odds, you're like, oh, well, Park should run through this unproven guy. But Naurdiev has been a prospect for years. I mean, he had a UFC run some years ago. Obviously, he got released from the UFC, but he fought his way back. And granted, he took some L's too outside of it. But recently, I thought that he had kind of found his footing, and I picked him against Bruno Silva. He went out there and put on a pretty dominant performance, and he shut out Bruno Silva 3-0. I have a feeling that Ismail Naurdiev is winning this fight as well against Jun-Young Park. I'm going to pick Naurdiev to win. I think it's easy to overlook a guy like him because he's taken some L's outside of the UFC, but you have to recognize a lot of these losses that you're seeing on his record are when he's fighting at 175 pounds. He was fighting at like a catchweight 170 welterweight, 175, not 170 welterweight outside of the UFC. But at 85, not shredding off that extra 10 pounds, like I think he looks good in the middleweight division. I like Naurdiev's style. I have for a while. I remember the old era Naurdiev and then him coming back to the UFC. I think he's found his flow in this game and started to figure out what works for him. He's a very elusive kickboxer. I'd say he's also quite technical. And then he also has on the side ability to wrestle for sure. Good Muay Thai. His knees on the inside. I'd say he has underrated clinch work. Watch for the knees on the inside, especially against a Park who is built on pressure-based fighting. Jun-Young Park is going to get in your face. He's going to mix it up in the dirty boxing, close that gap, look to throw hard, drag your ass to the ground, bully you, and outwork you and break you a lot of the time. He does have good boxing combos in close, but I think Naurdiev can do well in the clinch with him. I think Naurdiev can stop Park's takedowns. I think Naurdiev has a clear speed advantage from distance as far as the striking goes. I feel like Naurdiev's going to look pretty decent in this fight. I'm sure there's going to be moments for Park. He's got a good ability to take the back against the cage and wear on you and try and drag you down and beat you up. And he can definitely throw hands, but I think Naurdiev can counter with fast straights. I feel like Naurdiev is going to look more accurate. I think he will be more accurate. I think he'll look sharper. I think he'll look confident here against Jun-Young Park. I like this matchup for Naurdiev. Obviously, you look at the odds, you think he's a dead man in the fight, but he's a 28-year-old prospect still. And Jun-Young Park is tough at 34, and you'd say, oh, but he beat Brad Tavares on a split decision. An aged Brad Tavares gave him a run for his money in a hard fight. The Andre Muniz fight, Muniz, one-dimensional grappler, gave him a hard fight. Muniz just got destroyed by Ikram in one shot. Albert Duraev win is fairly impressive, but we know what Duraev does. It's just grappling. Dennis Tululin, he's a can, and Joseph Holmes is a can. So when you really break down Jun-Young Park's recent, 4-1 streak, I think that there's a style that Naurdiev brings that's going to be hard for Park to deal with. Ability to move well, right? Quick feet, nasty kicks to the body, good lateral movement, fast hands, a good base, wrestling threat of his own, the youth factor, the hunger to be a UFC contender. Naurdiev has been doing this shit forever, and he's only 28. I'm going to pick Ismail Naurdiev to win this fight against Jun-Young Park, and I feel pretty good about this call. I think Park's going to give him a test, but I think Naurdiev's going to look sharp. And I think Naurdiev can get a UFC W here and put together 2 wins in a row in the UFC and get some real momentum going for him. I think he's a good prospect still. Naurdiev is plus 166. He opened up at plus 285, which, damn, a lot of love for Jun-Young Park. Park at minus 191. Not a surprise to see Park as a favorite with his UFC veteran status, his ability to get wins. But let's not forget, he went to a split decision with Eric Anders. He went to that split with Brad Tavares. A fast guy like Naurdiev who can sit on his shots, strike well when need be, can also mix in the grappling. I think Naurdiev is live. The over is minus 170. You could sweat on that one because Naurdiev does have some timing and hand speed. I think decision will be the official call. I lean towards that. I think in a close fight, he can outwork Park. I think his clinch game being effective with offensive strikes gives him a real chance to deal with Jun-Young Park, who has a great ability to clash on the inside and control. Like, I think Naurdiev could rip big shots to the body and close, knees, get the tie clinch, separate, shoot on the hooks, face Park, spin out, and then get striking again from distance. Using the big cage, using his movement. I think he's definitely faster from mid and long range than Park for sure. And his Muay Thai ability in close, I think, gives him a real fighting chance. And I don't think Park's wrestling is that great. I think Naurdiev can stop those takedowns. And if he can, I really feel like he wins the fight. So I'm going to go Ismail Naurdiev to beat Jun Young Park in a competitive matchup and pull off a big upset here. He's a huge dog. Only what, 21%? That's not bad. 21% of the people picking Naurdiev. There's some believers in Naurdiev. Let me know in the comments if you're a Naurdiev believer too, or if you're one of the OG Parks witnesses for life. I like Jun Young Park's style. I've picked him a lot in the past, but I like Naurdiev too. I feel like I got faith in Naurdiev. I think he's one of those underrated prospects. When you're just a record watcher, you just look at the records and the 24-7 and 2 losses. It's easy to write him off. When you look at what actually is happening in some of these fights, he shows glimpses of real high level. And I think Ismail Naurdiev is a good talent. And I think he beats Jun Young Park and gets his second UFC career moving. Part 2, don't call it a comeback, bro. Call it the truth. Next fight on the card. We have the featured prelim of the night. We have Seokhyeon KO versus Oban Elliott. Seokhyeon KO was supposed to fight Billy Goff. Oban Elliott was supposed to fight Ramiz Brahimaj. Scramble because of visa issues. Those two fight one another. And now these two are fighting each other in Baku. It's a fun fight. I'm picking Oban Elliott to win. Did anybody expect something different? I'm taking a sip of this mug, zero sugar. Did anybody expect something different? I like Seokhyeon KO. I picked him against Cavalcanti. I picked him against Cavalcanti when it looked like Cavalcanti was that motherfucker. He was a big underdog, and I didn't get it because I felt like Cavalcanti was potentially one of those overrated athletes, which he was. And Seokhyeon KO, but outstrike him, walk him down. He has a bit of a stiff, upright kickboxing stance. He does have decent pot shots on the inside, and I'd consider him a pressure-heavy fighter. Does have that good southpaw left, and I would say he does stand a tad bit too still at moments where I see Oban Elliott having an ability to land shots on him. Oban's a very calm striker. He works some good kicks to the body and legs, rips shots to the legs and body. Obviously showed fast hands against Oban Elliott, against Basil Hafez. Shit, bro. I'm sorry for calling Oban Elliott Basil Hafez, man. I'm thinking 2 bald dudes and I'm mixing them up. But I think Oban Elliott's going to be sharp against KO. I think he's going to be faster than KO. I think he's going to be hard to reach from the outside. I think he can land some good counters on KO. KO's a bit stiff for my liking, man. I think counter shots are there from Elliott as KO looks to clash forward and throw hard. Elliott can grapple too. And I feel like he started to really find his flow. He's a well-versed prospect who does seem to have some KO power in his hands. Definitely good timing. KO, aggressive, effective offensively, but hittable as fuck. Upright, stiff, man. That's the major takeaway I had going back and rewatching KO. I was like, man, he's stiff. I see why he's been KO'd a couple times. You can see as a pro, 2 losses, 2 KO losses. Knocked out here against fucking Politnikov in 2018. I think Oban Elliott is chinning Seokhyeon KO. And I think the Oban Elliott hype is still real. I feel like he's definitely got a ton of promise. He was a huge favorite against Ramiz Brahimaj. Now he's fighting KO, who's making his UFC debut. I think it's an Oban Elliott showcase chance. And I think that the aggressive striker in KO is a fun one to watch. I want to see more out of him. I'll be rooting for him in other matchups. I like the style. It's really fun to watch a guy that likes to bring fire and brawl. But bro, that style's going to get him killed here. That style's going to get him fucked up. Oban Elliott, too sharp, too calm, too clean, too effective. Find some good straights, find some counters, rips him with leg kick. He's going to look too good. Oban Elliott's on his game now. Oban Elliott by knockout. That's going to be the prediction in this fight. Looking at the odds, he's a minus 550 now. What the fuck? It was minus 395. No fun on minus 550, bro. It opened at minus 350. But Oban Elliott's going to go out there and do the thing. He's going to win. I mean, minus 550 makes sense. I can't see KO beating him. Plus 400 KO? Nah. Oban's a lock. I do think we go under 2.5. Under 2.5 plus 122? I say yes. I say Oban Elliott gets this thing done inside of the distance. I think KO is going to bring fire. I think he's going to walk into a big shot. I think Oban Elliott could also chop him down, rip him with body kicks, rip him with even shots to the body, kind of, flatten the tires a bit. That's what I like, man. I like a guy that flattens the tires a bit. And Oban Elliott does rip the body pretty well. And I think he slows down KO's game. I think he slows down KO's arsenal. I think Elliott gets some clean hands flowing in the fight. I think he lands some power shots. I think he can grapple too if need be. And I think Seokhyeon KO is going to be looking up at the lights. I'm going Oban Elliott, knockout win, getting it done, and, keeping the hype on him. So Oban Elliott for the W, official prediction. Next fight on the card, it brings us to our main card opener. If you guys haven't, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up. We got Mohammed Naimov versus Bogdan Grad. I've been picking, and I feel good about Mohammed Naimov. I think he goes out there and handles Bogdan Grad. I'm saying I've been picking like I've been picking it all week, but in my brain, I've been picking it all day. Mohammed Naimov should body Grad. I'm a Grad doubter, bro. I'm a Grad doubter. Let me tell you honestly. Yes, Grad has solid Muay Thai. And I feel like he's effective with his kicks, snapping kicks. He's definitely got explosive shots. But he was getting ripped up by Lucas Alexander. But Alexander quit on himself. He was in a war with Michael Aswell, which I guess aged well, seeing Aswell, go distance in his UFC debut. But I don't think Bogdan Grad is all that, man. He's an explosive Muay Thai specialist, but I feel like he's very hittable. We saw him knocked out violently against Tom Nolan. That was nearly 2 years ago, but he was chin bad in that fight. Mohammed Naimov's pretty effective. Naimov has a decent striking game. Explosiveness is definitely there. Physically, he's very strong. Tight inside of the clinch, times takedowns well. He mixes his striking and grappling quite nicely. I like his power. I like his physical strength. I like his ability to switch up stances. And I feel like he's going to time some key takedowns. And I definitely think he's the better grappler between the two of them. As far as striking goes, Bogdan Grad will appear to be better than Mohammed Naimov with his power Muay Thai style and his explosiveness. But when I really look at it, Naimov bringing threats of takedowns, threats of clinch control, I expect that in essence to negate a bit of that Bogdan Grad explosive ability because he's not going to want to overcommit on big shots if Naimov's successful with wrestling. I think Naimov is going to be looking to press forward, clash with Bogdan Grad, wear him down against the cage, time key takedowns, work from top position. If they are striking, though, I think Mohammed Naimov is live to land some big shots. I think Mohammed Naimov can still mix it up on the feet with a Bogdan Grad. But ultimately, I see a clear level difference in wrestling / grappling ability. I believe Naimov is just better than him at that. With the physical strength advantage, I think you're going to see Naimov body him in grappling positions. Now, Bogdan Grad's cardio is a bit of a worry, man. Bogdan Grad, yes, he was in a war against Aswell, but he was fatiguing bad late. I feel like Naimov can keep up a better pace than that. He's coming off the decision against Khan Ofli, and Ofli was a decent enough wrestler. Fight before that, he lost a great prospect, Felipe Lima, who they're now sacrificing Peyton Talbot against. And the fight before that, Eric Silva, too easy. Nathaniel Wood, controversial, but a win nonetheless. I don't think Bogdan Grad's ready for this in his second UFC fight. I think Naimov melts Grad. I think he could submit him in the third round or even late into the second round. Submission is definitely live. I could see Naimov going for the late finish and Bogdan Grad being out of gas after forced to, defend takedown after takedown, dealing with pressure from Naimov all night. I think he could get his back taken and strangled here. I'm going to say Mohammed Naimov definitely gets the win. As far as method of victory, I feel like, you can look at Naimov outworking him to a decision or finishing him later in the fight. Minus 220 for Naimov as the favorite. Grad plus 185 as an underdog here. I think Mohammed Naimov is a good pick. Over 1.5 minus 240, I say yeah. I think this fight does go over. I don't think Grad's knocking Naimov out come round one. I don't think Naimov is knocking Grad out come round one. I think Naimov gets him to the ground. I think he beats him up a bit. I think he wears on him. I think maybe, third round finish for Naimov is a live possibility. But I'm going to say that Mohammed Naimov can give Bogdan Grad his first UFC loss. And I think he breaks him in this fight here. I've been waiting for this, all right? I've been waiting for Bogdan Grad. I'm like, Lucas Alexander nearly had him round one, but Lucas Alexander has wilt in him. He breaks. Now I got Naimov, crazy Tajikistan savage. He's not breaking in this fight. Mohammed Naimov is going to beat Bogdan. So the pick, Naimov, getting it done. And I think he looks pretty good too. Next fight on the card. We got Nazim Sadykhov versus Nikolas Motta. I'm going to pick Nazim Sadykhov to beat Nikolas Motta. Now, if you remember last fight, Nikolas Motta decided to change up camps and go train at Bang Tao. So, dude is focused on his Muay Thai game. He's definitely a power hitter. Nikolas Motta punches people hard in the fucking face. He has thudding hooks. He sits on his punches really well. But outside of the red zone, like the close range striking, it's kind of flat-footed, a bit stiff, doesn't really have long-range tools aside from like a heavy kick to the body. Never really works a real stiff jab, more power hooks is his base. Good knees in close range. Wrestling is He got fucked up by Trey Ogden on the ground. He got bullied on the ground. Trey Ogden made him his bitch in that fight grappling. No contest because the ref stopped it too early, but he was locked in a fucking submission. It was over. The arm triangle was set. Motta is coming off of 2 straight wins, which I have to put respect on his name for it. Knocked out Tom Nolan, which I think you have to respect. Nolan's a big dude, very tall for the weight class. But ultimately walked into the perfect shot from Motta, and Nolan gets dropped a lot. Beat Mahashate, got cracked a bit early in that fight, but was able to outwork him over 3 rounds. But Mahashate's bottom barrel, man. Nazim Sadykhov's pretty good. And Nazim Sadykhov has gotten better. Add into, all of that. He's an Azerbaijan blood, He's representing at home in Baku. Sadykhov's a clean southpaw. Pretty fast with his stand-up. Better boxing, I will say, from distance, mid and long range. When it gets in close, I still think Sadykhov is better as far as speed, but just looking at pure power, Nikolas Motta hits harder than him probably with like 1 shot. But Sadykhov is a lot more versatile with his MMA attack. Sadykhov, I think, is a lot more mobile. He could time takedowns. He can grapple. I feel like Nazim Sadykhov beats Nikolas Motta, but it's a scary fight because Motta carries that heavy punching power. And if Sadykhov gets out of position, letting his hands go a little too crazy, maybe the Azerbaijan crowd is going nuts for him, right? He's representing the country, which is major for an event like this. Nikolas Motta can sit on shots, man. Nikolas Motta can punch people in the face really fucking hard. It's just, how does he get there? You kind of have to wheel yourself into it. Like, you have to rush. And I could see Sadykhov rushing. I think it's kind of like a now or never moment for Sadykhov. He's 31, right? On a tear right now. You have to respect what he's done. Came back through the Contender Series. I mean, if you look at Sadykhov, it didn't go all smooth all the way through. You know what I'm saying? He came into the UFC and he was tested off rip by Evan Elder, and he happened to get that doctor stoppage, but he was getting worked in that fight a bit. He'll come back with Terrence McKinney. Then he drawed with Slava Claus, but the striking looked dangerous. Ismail Bonfim fight, he gets a doctor stoppage, and I picked him as the Savage Dog Lock that week. He was plus money, and he came to fruition. Now he's a big favorite against Nikolas Motta. I just think Sadykhov has more weapons. I think Sadykhov is a better MMA fighter. Power striker, yeah, Motta's scary as fuck. But I also think Sadykhov could sting Motta with fast hands. And I could see Motta getting melted by big shots, Sadykhov getting on top, raining heavy ground and pound, controlling the body and just beating him up, and Motta just collapsing. I feel like Nazim Sadykhov is live for a KO. The high kick against Bonfim that cut him up, dangerous. Sadykhov's pretty clean. Definitely a speed advantage, power advantage Motta, just pure power. But ultimately, it's not just about having power. It's about the setups that get you there. Sadykhov has way more setups, and I think he's got way more weapons, and I think he's a more well-versed MMA-minded fighter. He's got a higher fight IQ. And Motta training at Bang Tao is good for Muay Thai, but I think he should be training the fuck out of wrestling. Like Motta traveling around the world, training at every fucking gym, trying to find it. He's got to find it here. It's not all these coaches that's going to make it all happen. He's got to find it in here. I just don't know if he's got it, and he's got to find it in here. I don't think he's got it. I think Nazim Sadykhov's better. I'm going Sadykhov to get it done. And I do think he's live for a finish. You got an over 1.5, a sweaty -140. It's live to go over that 1.5, though. But I think it's sweaty. It's nerve-wracking. If you're playing the over, you're shitting yourself. Because there's big power on the side of Motta, and there's definitely great counter ability and submission threats on the side of Sadykhov. The better MMA fighter is Sadykhov. I'm calling knockout, but am I? I say inside distance. Because I'm seeing now, I'm imagining Motta getting taken down and fucked up on the ground. Sadykhov's jiu-jitsu has got to be better after training with Aljo and Marab for how long? Nazim Sadykhov, inside distance. I think he's actually live for a submission. I want to see that sub prop. I'm most interested in that. But I'll say that Nazim Sadykhov should dominate. Motta could land a counter shot and hurt Sadykhov, but as far as effectiveness over the 15 minutes, if they go that far, it's Sadykhov. As far as technicality, Sadykhov. As far as a well-versed MMA game, it's Sadykhov. Motta's really just got power on his side, and that's about it. And I think Sadykhov can handle the power puncher. We're going Sadykhov for the W. Next fight on the card, we have Mr. 10,000 BC, Mitabek Orolbai versus Tofiq Musayev. I'll say this about Tofiq Musayev real quick. I watched the Rise and Run years ago. I remember when he beat Patricky Pitbull, and then unfortunately, bit of a layoff, lose to De Souza, whatever. He was hyped up at one point after he pulled off that win. Like, this dude was a dangerous one to watch in the lightweight division. Obviously, didn't necessarily live up to the hype, but still has gotten wins. Like, there's respect on it. I'll give the detailed breakdown of him in a second. Let me just say this. I'm picking Mitabek Orolbai. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. But I think Tofiq Musayev is good. It's just a little too late, bro. 35 years of age, making the UFC debut. Don't consider him just a Bellator fighter, okay? He was a Ryzen fighter first, and he also fought in Bellator. Coming off a 2-fight winning streak, but hasn't fought in November of 2023. So it's been a bit since he's been out of the game. And, Takada is not Mitabek Orolbai. The Alexander Shabalai fight was weird because it ended due to a body kick. It was the teep that kind of hit the groin and then forced the cup upward. It didn't fully hit the groin. It hit above the groin, but grazed the cup. And then he went down, calling a timeout, saying, yo, low blow. And then they stopped the fight and he gets TKO'd. He didn't really get finished. So, kind of an unfortunate result in that Shabalai fight. I think Musayev's good. He's also an Azerbaijan fighter, but I think that Mitabek Orolbai is just built different. Like that Mateusz Rumbeshki fight, I have so much respect for Orolbai's ability to recover and never give up on himself. Most people are done after getting their eyes shut, after getting dropped and rocked and beaten the shit out of. But the dude did not stop coming, and he was cracking Mateusz Rumbeshki. If that's a 5-round fight, Mitabek Orolbai will finish Mateusz Rumbeshki in round 4 or 5. I'm telling you right now, if they would have kept going, Rumbeshki was in trouble, okay? Mitabek Orolbai has a very clean and rangy kickboxing style. Good bounce to his style. Pretty good straight shots. I actually really like his sharp right hand. I would say he has a versatile MMA game, though, of course, because he's got the strong wrestling and the submission threat in the arsenal, too. Seems to have unreal toughness and good cardio also. Musayev on the other side is talented, though. He's got good wrestling in his own right. He definitely has pretty fast hands. He rips good shots over the top. He's got calculated pressure. In his prime, shit, man, different. But it's not even the age of 35. It's just... Mitabek Orolbai is always a tough fight, but it is being 35, making a UFC debut as a 35-year-old. He had a run. He had an MMA career. We're catching him at the back end, and now you're putting him in there against a Mitabek Orolbai who, I'm going to say this, I think he's grown in 7 months. I think the fight against Rumbeshki showed that this fucking guy is built different than the rest. I don't think Musayev's knocking Orolbai out, and I don't think he's subbing him. I think Orolbai is in his face the entire time. Musayev is going to have to hope that he can get an early lead because round 3, Orolbai is not wilting. He's not stopping. He's had big third-round moments in fights. Even the Elves-Brenner fight, dropping him in round 3, won him that fight. And I think he's only getting better at 27 years of age. I have to go with Mr. 10,000 BC. I have to go with Mitabek Orolbai. The dude is the essence of a dog. I can see a split decision. I can see a back-and-forth fight. I think early Musayev could look quite sharp and quite fast. I think as the fight keeps wearing on and Orolbai's in your face, throwing good straights, landing shots, not wilting, defending takedowns, threatening with takedowns, I think Orolbai wins that third round and that wins him the fight. First 2 rounds could end up being toss-ups. I expect competitiveness between the two. Musayev, he's quality. But the pick has got to be Mitabek Orolbai. And I think Musayev is going to get cracked by some big straights that slow him down in his tracks, lessen the confidence a little bit to close distance. And I think this is a Mitabek Orolbai showing, hey, I'm here still. I'm a problem in this UFC lightweight division. 35-year-old ex-Ryzen and Bellator fighter is not coming in and sending me out. Mitabek Orolbai is still a special talent. And I think beating Tofiq Musayev, very likely this Saturday. I'm going to pick Orolbai to get it done. Now, the odds for the fight have Orolbai minus 155 as the favorite. Tofiq Musayev sitting at plus 135 as the dog. I don't think the odds are far-fetched in this fight. I feel like Orolbai should be a slight favorite because of his UFC experience. And Musayev shouldn't be a crazy underdog because of what he's done outside of the UFC. I mean, he's fought decent competition, right? He's put up good fights. He shows skills. You watch tape on him, you're like, okay, Musayev sharp. He can overwhelm people. He can land on the feet. But is he going to wrestle fuck Orolbai? I can't see it. I don't see it. Is he going to knock him out? No. Does he have the physicality of Mateusz Rambeshki, who's built like a fucking tank? No. I think Mitabek Orolbai takes home a hard-fought win. I think we go over a round and a half, which is minus 235. I expect it to go longer. I actually think that over 1.5 is like a gift, though. Does Orolbai sub him that quick? I feel like Orolbai's winning the decision. I know he's got 2 decisions opposite, multitude of finishes, 11 finishes. I don't think Musayev just getting subbed on the mat. This loss here was rough, but it's 4 years ago. De Souza caught him in the fucking triangle. It was just a Brazilian jiu-jitsu ace, man. They just caught him when they were dry and fight was wraps as Musayev got on top. I think Mitabek Orolbai takes it home. Hard-fought win, tested for sure, but Orolbai getting the W and keeping himself as a legit prospect to watch at that 155-pound class, man. I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it's about to be a dog fight. I'll say one more thing, too. Remember the Rambeshki fight was a 160 catch weight. If Rambeshki shreds off the extra 5 pounds, I think this fight goes differently. Just to say it, not to cope, just to say it. Rambeshki's a savage, just to say it. I'm picking Mitabek Orolbai to beat Tofiq Musayev and get back on track. Next fight on the card. It's our featured fight of the night. The big boys going after it in the heavyweight division. We got Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev, booked for the 3rd time. Is 3rd time a charm? We already saw him face off, but ultimately Blaydes pulled out with an illness and the fight didn't come to fruition. I've been picking Rizvan Kuniev in each and every other breakdown, and I wanted to make sure. And I'm watching Kuniev fight, and I'm like, why do I feel like that he just has this weird path to victory striking with Curtis Blaydes? I'm not feeling like Curtis Blaydes is still that same savage from back in 2022. I'm feeling like Rizvan Kuniev is live to land good shots on the feet. He comes from that Wushu Sandow striking background. He's a clean kickboxer, and he's very mobile for a heavyweight. Strikes on the inside are nice. Good knees to the body. I'd say his Muay Thai skill set that he has in close is quite good. Strong wrestling base, and I can see him stopping Curtis Blaydes' takedowns, man. And I think Kuniev's going to be a bit faster, a bit sharper. I get it. It's a UFC debut, and it's like a terrible idea to pick against Curtis Blaydes, against a debuting fighter. I know. But why the fuck is the UFC so hell-bent on booking Rizvan Kuniev versus Curtis Blaydes? Is this throw Kuniev to the lions right away? What do they see that maybe this guy's actually a fucking problem? He trains with Magomed Ankalaev. Comes from a high-level team. He's a Dagestan fighter. He's been a prospect for years. This is a massive, massive debut challenge. He's already faced off with Blaydes, and I think Kuniev looked confident to face off, and he looked large as well. I think he can beat a past his best days Curtis Blaydes, and it's not that Blaydes is old at 34. It's just, I've seen the L's. I've seen the L's. Aspinall knocks him out bad. He beat Zheleznyakova Almeida on a sick comeback, to be fair, after getting wrestled up a bit round 1, just stopping all the takedowns. And that was impressive. Really weird shot that landed, but to be fair, Zheleznyakovan's chinny. Pavlovich destroyed him 2 years ago. Aspinall fight was an injury. So then the last win outside of the Aspinall injury and the weird Zheleznyakova fight was the Chris Daukaus KO over 3 years ago. Why do I feel like Rizvan Kuniev has such a great chance in striking? An ability to stop the takedown. Rizvan should have the faster hands and feet. Should have better footwork. Should have faster kicks. Should have more effective punching. And I think he's going to be dangerous in close range with some heavy knees to the body, some big shots up high. I don't feel like Curtis Blaydes is that same animal that fucked up Alistair Overeem back in the day. I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't feel like he is that guy. Of course, Blaydes has a really heavy one, too. He's got power in his hands. He likes to box a lot. Of course, Curtis Blaydes has terrifying ground and pound when he's on, and his top control is serious. He's a huge heavyweight. He does have strong wrestling, but Kuniev should be able to stop the takedowns. I think Kuniev's just going to be too quick, too technically effective, And I think he's going to take home an upset win. And I think it's easy to, look past him. Only 13% of the people picking him because of the lack of the UFC experience. But I feel like it's one of those cases where maybe it's like perfect timing to fight a Curtis Blaydes. This fight has been rebooked now 3 times. They're forcing Curtis Blaydes to go fly across the world and go to Azerbaijan. Listen, we're in the Caucasus Mountains, bro. Dagestan is not far away. All right? This is a quick flight for Kuniev. Blaydes is on a different side of the fucking planet. And I think that gives even more of an advantage to Kuniev here in this fight. I'm going with Rizvan Kuniev to pull off the upset win. I'm not going to stray away from my early leans here just because I'm like, oh, but it is Curtis Blaydes, though. Until Curtis Blaydes goes out there and shows me he still is Curtis Razor Blaydes, I'm not going to pick it. Minus 285, Blaydes has a very large favorite in the fight. Kuniev plus 245. I see Kuniev as an interesting matchup, man. It really comes down to what happens when they tie up. If Blaydes takes Kuniev down, and let's say he does it at will, and he's on top and he's just beating him up, yeah, I could see him beating the shit out of him for 3 rounds. But what happens when Kuniev's hips are as good as advertised? What happens when Kuniev is stuffing Blaydes' takedowns and throwing fast strikes at him? Blaydes not loving getting punched in the face these days. We've seen him fall out in fights. And I think that Rizvan Kuniev can stop him. I'm going to pick him to pull off a TKO. I'll say this fight ends inside of the distance, but over, under, whatever. That's up to you. Big plus money dog, but it's not about the underdog status for Kuniev. Fuck the odds for the breakdown. I always tell you guys, I look at it. Analysis of the fight, odds is a separate factor. I'm picking Kuniev because I see a true pathway to victory if he can stop takedowns. I see a strike speed advantage. I see an efficiency in stand-up. I see Blaydes not being at his best. I'm picking Rizvan Kuniev to get the win, and he happens to be a big plus money underdog as well. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, our co-main event of the evening. We have Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Fiziev comfortable at home in Azerbaijan, fighting in front of his people against the red-hot Ignacio Bahamondes. It's a fantastic striking matchup, and it's one that Rafael Fiziev can definitely win. I think that Fiziev is so live in this fight. Looking at it early, I was like, okay, Bahamondes from distance, though. But then going and rewatching some Bahamondes, I'm like, people can close the gap on him. He's not this maestro at managing range. He's just unable to get the gap closed on him because he's 6'3". Ludovic Klein rocked him in the first minute of round 1. Ludovic Klein dog-walked Ignacio Bahamondes. And Fiziev is a shorter and explosive power striker. Similar, right? Comparisons you could be made on Fiziev and a Ludovic Klein. You could compare them a bit. Fiziev's body kicks are out of this world. Sharp body kicks. Snapping power in his body shots. Nasty knees in the clinch. I think Fiziev, if they get in close, is going to rip Bahamondes with some heavy knees. I think he's going to rip him with some heavy body kicks from some mid-range strikes. I think Bahamondes is going to look to teep from the outside and throw straights, but Fiziev is not blitzing you like Manuel Torres, just leaving his chin out and running at you. And then there to get knocked out and then just do it all again. Fiziev is a super calculated striker. I mean, the guy's coaching at Tiger Muay Thai. He's sharp as fuck. He's a blade. Rafael Fiziev is really dangerous still. I think in close range he'll be dangerous, but I think even from mid-range against a taller Bahamondes, the speed advantage of Fiziev will show itself. I don't think Bahamondes is boxing up Fiziev from the outside. I think Fiziev's landing big shots on Bahamondes. I think if they tie up, Fiziev's physical strength potentially ends up finding him in top position. And I doubt Bahamondes is throwing up a triangle like he did against Jalen Turner, who got him down. I think Fiziev is really live to win this fight. Bahamondes is a tough customer. I'm not saying he's getting melted by Fiziev, but I expect big shots to the body to wear on Bahamondes. And as this fight keeps on going, he fatigues a little bit later. Fiziev's speed advantage shows itself. Gaethje caught Fiziev with the fight-saving uppercut come round number 2, as Fiziev was starting to really find his footing in that fight. Round number 1, Fiziev beat Gaethje in their rematch. Round number 2, Fiziev was looking well, and then perfect counter shot. I don't think Bahamondes is landing that uppercut. I think Fiziev's defense is going to be on point. I think his strike offense is going to be sharp. I think if they do grapple, Fiziev with his physicality could end up in top position. I don't think Bahamondes is throwing up a submission from bottom and locking it in on Fiziev. And I know it's easy to overlook Fiziev. Oh, well, 3 losses. But it's Gaethje, who's in the top 4. It's Gamrot, who's absolutely top 8, and it was an injury loss. And it's Justin Gaethje in the fight before. And like he came back, after a long layoff to rematch Gaethje and still did really well early. Now we have an active Fiziev who isn't injured. We have an active Fiziev who got the rust out going 3 hard rounds with Justin Gaethje in their rematch. And yeah, it was a loss and that's unfortunate, but it's a winnable fight for him. I don't think Fiziev's going to be on a 4-fight losing streak after Saturday. I can't see it, man. I can't. I don't think Bahamondes is sending Fiziev into the unranks on a 4-fight losing streak or completely out. And I'm not sure Bahamondes is ready to jump into the true shark division of the top 10 against the best of the best in the game at 27. The win against the Jalen Turner, whose mind wasn't right, to be fair. Manuel Torres knockout is fucking sensational, yes. But like I said, Fiziev's not blitzing you like that. Torres is a brawler and he hits hard, yeah. Yagos is nowhere near Fiziev. Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein is the red flag fight. Ludovic Klein's an inch shorter than Fiziev. Granted, he's got an inch reach advantage. But if Klein was able to land fast shots and do damage, could the Tiger Muay Thai head coach not do that type of shit to you as well? Yeah, it was 2 years ago. And yeah, Bahamondes is young and improving. But I don't think Fiziev is washed. I think he's still a primed athlete. And I think that Rafael Fiziev is going to beat Ignacio Bahamondes. I expect a badass fight. I think we can go 3 hard here, but you're going to see Fiziev as a bit of a level jump as far as striking technique, speed, and physicality in the overall game. Expect thunderous body work. Expect Rafael Fiziev to come out motivated, hungry, and ready to win. He's fighting at home in Azerbaijan now. He's not fumbling here. He's not going 4 down in his home country. I think we're going to see Fiziev rise to the occasion, and I think he gets shit back on track against a good prospect in Bahamondes. But at 27, he's not ready for the top 10. And I think that Fiziev is going to send them back, to the back end of the top 15. And, fighting more prospect battle fights or more, aged OGs. I don't think he's quite ready for the Rafael Fiziev puzzle just yet. Now, the odds for the fight. Fiziev around -105 as, an ever so slight underdog with Bahamondes at -115. At open, Bahamondes was +175. I swear to God, man, people just looking at Bahamondes' reach. It's like, okay, he's going to outstrike him from the outside. They're looking, okay, Fiziev lost to Gaethje, but look at the in-betweens, man. Bahamondes is skillful, but I don't see him just managing distance and out kickboxing Fiziev, and I don't think he takes Fiziev down and grapple fucks him. I see a Fiziev win. I'm going with him to get it done. Now, you're going to sweat like crazy on the over. If you're playing the over 2.5, it's -155. The official pick 'em a call is Fiziev by decision. I think that the absolute grit and toughness of Bahamondes can keep him in this fight for 3 hard. And I'm sure he'll have a couple moments. But I think Fiziev is going to look faster, sharper, more accurate. And I think he's, remaining amongst the top 10. Because a loss here, bro, 4 down, terrible spot for Fiziev. Back against the wall, I think he's going to thrive. I'm going Fiziev for the win in the co-main event. Let's keep running. Next fight. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the hell out of the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up. Is Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. We finally get this fight. Some rebookings, but at Baku, we got it. I'm picking Jamal Hill to take it home. I know. I'm picking Jamal Hill. I am. I'm not lying to you guys. It's no joke. I'm not pulling a fast one on you. I can see Jamal Hill outboxing Khalil. The reason that Jamal Hill struggled so much with Yuri Prochazka last time is because Yuri Prochazka exhibited excellent head movement. Yuri Prochazka fought that fight with a very elite ability to use his reflexes and slip out of the way of big straight shots from Jamal Hill, which those straight shots are normally the bread and butter of what Jamal Hill does as a striker. He finds a lot of straight punches right at the end of the shot, and they're thudding shots. Hill's got fast hands, and when he's on one with his timing, his boxing is fucking nasty, okay? He's got a nasty straight left from southpaw, and he also has a really clean check right hook. Does switch up stances a bit these days which, potentially, given Rountree a different angle, could open up some striking exchanges to favor Jamal Hill. I do have to say this, Jamal Hill, when he misses big. He overthrows his punches a bit. But on the flip side, when he lands big. He's still quick, effective, I think damn fun to watch. I don't think Jamal Hill is completely washed. I didn't think that after a Prochazka fight. Now, on the side of Khalil Rountree, he had his moment. He went to war with Alex Pereira. But I'm not going to say, okay, MMA math, Jamal Hill knocked out by Pereira early. Rountree goes long. Okay, so Rountree wins. No. Yes, he had a badass performance, but Alex Pereira is a different fighter than Jamal Hill. Circumstances are everything. Khalil rose to the occasion. He has a power Muay Thai style. He's got very heavy hands. He's got thunderous hooks. But I will tell you this, he fights with more of that traditionalist Muay Thai tight high guard. That's not a great style to avoid big straight punches from a tactical boxer. If you look at the evolution in the sport of Muay Thai, one of the inefficiencies that the Thais, have now against other fighters from around the world that are also doing Muay Thai is the boxing. They tend to not be great punchers. Now, Khalil Rountree definitely has a great ability to punch, and I'm not saying he's just a traditional Muay Thai fighter, but one thing that he has brought that is the other side of the boxing ability is the head movement. There's not a ton of slick head movement from Khalil Rountree. Blocking punches, there's still force landing, and some are going to get through. And he's not going to be able to just weave out of the way of these Jamal Hill strikes like we saw Yuri Prochazka doing. I think that he's eating them on the guard at best, but at worst, he's eating straight punches right to the nose. And I think that slows Rountree down. You can look at the great success against Pereira, but he still got melted in round 4. He still got broken. If Jamal Hill still has fight left in him, and he's not completely washed, his boxing should be a factor. His southpaw stance should also be a factor. With Khalil Rountree, traditionally, liking to rip heavy low kicks and having power from southpaw, right? It's going to be interesting to see how the clash of the styles ends up meshing here. I think the big worry with Jamal Hill is Rountree's ability to kick, especially with Jamal Hill having struggles with the Achilles, post-surgery and whatnot, and not looking necessarily the same. He's never had the best footwork in the game. But what I will say is I see jabs from Jamal Hill adding up in this fight. And I think Rountree can have big blitzes and moments of power barrages, but I think Hill could catch him with good straight shots. Now, the worry is going to be Hill needing to check kicks, needing to defend the kicks. His willingness to switch stances is effective, but I will say usually a fighter is not as good in the opposite stance. And even if Jamal Hill switches to that stance to avoid some leg kicks, I expect it to potentially throw his rhythm in defensive striking after his combinations, because normally you're not as good at like parrying, blocking, and slipping from the opposite stance. And Khalil can then land his big power shots over the top. But I feel like Jamal Hill's boxing range is going to be a factor here. Rountree doesn't really throw straights. He's got good power Muay Thai with the leg kicks. He's got power teeps. He's got big shots over the top. Hill's better with the long punches. I think Hill lands some thunderous long punches. And we have to also look at both of these guys being in wars, right? 4 months ago against Prochazka, 8 months ago against Pereira for Rountree. How do they look on the comeback? I'm going to say Jamal Hill can keep his UFC career alive. I'm going with Hill on a 2-fight losing streak, but both guys coming off L's. I think Hill's straights are going to be a factor here. I think his jab is going to be a factor. I think his hand speed is going to be a factor. I'm not ready to say that Khalil Rountree just opens Jamal Hill up, chops at the legs, breaks him apart, drops him with leg kicks, and finishes him. I think Jamal could crack Rountree with some big straight punches, snap his head back, hurt him, potentially put him down. I'm going to go with Jamal Hill to win, but it's a scary fight as far as the pick goes, and I think it's a true 50-50, which makes it super compelling to sit there and watch. Odds for the fight, Jamal's the slight underdog, plus 128, plus 140 range for Jamal Hill. Khalil around minus 148, minus 165. Fuck the odds. How I see it is a 50-50. I see it as who is the superior style. The boxing of Jamal Hill for the Muay Thai of Rountree. I believe that the better boxing of Jamal Hill should open shots up. But with that, there needs to be an ability to negate the offensive kicking threat that Khalil Rountree has while also avoiding his extremely heavy overhand shots because he has fucking crazy power. But I will say he does it. I'm saying Jamal Hill finds the finish. I'm feeling like third round KO is live, but it could be earlier. Under 3.5 minus 150. I feel like this fight does end inside of the distance, but maybe you got to go under 4.5 to stay safe. It did say round 3, and they're saying under 3.5 at minus 150. So I guess I'm saying yes. I could see Hill sniping Rountree earlier. I think his hand speed's an advantage here. Hill's definitely the sharper boxer. Rountree's the bigger power hitter with the wide shots. But to get to a target, the fastest is straight. And Jamal Hill does a great job of throwing straight. So when he's on one, he's a fucking monster. At least he's got some activity. I know he took damage, but he fought 4 months ago. And I get it. It's not great that he took big headshots like he did, but he did fight 4 months ago. An active Jamal Hill can find his footing again. And let's not act like Khalil didn't take potentially career-changing damage against Pereira. Yes, Hill took a lot of damage with Prohashka. And yeah, he was knocked out by Pereira, but it's one-shot KO and it's a few knockdowns. It's fucking Rountree getting his face destroyed and broken in round number 4 by Alex Pereira. I don't think Hill wilts from a big shot of Rountree. I think if Rountree is to win, those leg kicks are going to be a factor. But I'm going to say Jamal Hill can take this one home and keep his career alive, man. I'm going to go Jamal Hill for the TKO. I think he hurts Rountree with a big punch. Rocks him with a speedy straight shot. This fight's about to be absolutely insane, man. Those are the predictions for UFC Baku, and I feel like we really are capping off with a true 50-50 main event. I'm going to lean towards the length advantage for Hill and the superior distance striking, specifically with the hands, as opposed to the Muay Thai power hitter in Khalil Rountree. I'll say that Hill is more accurate against a more plodding stylist than Rountree, as opposed to how he looked against the likes of Yuri Prohashka last fight. And I think Jamal Hill pulls off a pretty needed win and a massive W in this damn light heavyweight main event. So we're going with Hill to take it home for UFC Baku in a crazy-ass card. Let me know your main event pick, chat, because I was tossing and turning. I won't lie to you guys. I tell you the truth. This right here is a high-stakes 50-50 main event, but I feel like just this inch pushing me towards Hill finds the straights. He keeps that career alive, and he can beat Khalil Rountree, because still, Rountree's biggest win as of recent on paper is an Anthony Smith win and a controversial decision against Dustin Jacoby. All positives were taken away from his performance against staph infection Alex Pereira. I'll say it's not enough. I'm picking Hill to pull through. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I love you guys. Make sure you all smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button too, and turn on the post notifications. You don't want to miss a video or live stream. You got nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content. As always, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. I'll be live all week long. Make sure you tune in to the lunchtime lives, and then obviously Saturday with the Savage Fight Companion. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you on the next one. Much love. Peace out.